Have you ever sat alone in the silence, and felt it? Something, not quite right. It's not a pain. It's a feeling. A ghost haunting you from inside your own body. It doesn't knock. It creeps into your life silently. It leaves its mark with those swollen ankles at the end of the day. It whispers through a weak pulse, fluttering beneath your fingertips. It shows itself in that sudden dizziness when you stand up too fast. And here is the most terrifying part. That ghost doesn't just gnaw away at your physical health. It devours something far more precious, your peace of mind. It plants fears in your head that you don't dare speak aloud. The fear of suddenly collapsing while you're out for a walk in the park. The fear of waking up one morning and one half of your body no longer obeying your commands. The fear of becoming a burden to the very people you love most. That ghost, it has a name. Medicine calls it atherosclerosis. But I call it what it truly is, the silent thief. The one who is planning to steal your future through a heart attack, a stroke, and the silent killer known as high blood pressure. But, what if I told you we could set a trap for this thief? What if I told you there is a roadmap, a treasure map, from nature that can help us build a fortress from within, leaving that thief with nowhere left to hide? In this video, I'm not going to give you a boring list. I am going to give you a biological arsenal, 8 fruit bodyguards that have been scientifically shown to protect your heart, help clean arteries, and win back your peace of mind. And especially, if you only remember one thing from this video, let it be this. At the very end, I will reveal my biggest secret. The one fruit that researchers have called nature's decalcifying agent. It has the power to soften what has become hard, to break down the shell of calcium that is silently turning your arteries to stone. Something modern medicine is still struggling to find an answer for. Before we pull back that curtain, do something for me, and for yourself. If you have ever felt that ghost, even just once. If you are ready to stop being a victim and start being a warrior. Raise your hand in the comments below. Just type, "I'm here," or "I'm ready." Let me, and this entire community, know that you have chosen to fight back. Because in this fight, we will not walk alone. And that journey begins with a story. My story. My story, it begins with a lie. A lie I told myself on an otherwise beautiful Tuesday morning. The sky was clear that day, I still remember. I was out in the garden, turning over the soil for some new tomato plants. A familiar task, a simple joy of getting older. And then, it came. It wasn't a sharp, stabbing pain. No. It was far more subtle. It started as a strange pressure in the center of my chest. As if someone had gently placed a thick book there. And what did I do? I told myself that deadly lie, it's probably just indigestion. Too much grease from last night's dinner. I tried to ignore it. I straightened my back, took a deep breath, and continued my work. But that book didn't go away. It got heavier. And heavier. Until it wasn't a book anymore. It was an invisible elephant, slowly sitting down on my chest. The sweat started beating on my forehead, though the air wasn't warm. My breath became short, shallow. The pressure was no longer, it was a steel anchor, pulling me down. Everything around me began to blur, the sound of the birds, the green of the leaves, it all smeared into a meaningless haze. The last thing I remember before collapsing onto the soft earth was one, single, desperate thought, so, this is what it feels like. When I woke up, the first thing I registered wasn't the physical pain, which had dulled. It was a feeling 100 times worse, helplessness. I lay there, tangled in tubes and wires, unable to even sit up on my own. Every breath was monitored by a machine. I, a history teacher who once commanded a classroom, a man who had once built a roof with his own 2 hands, was now as still as a newborn child. And then I saw it. The greatest fear wasn't death. It wasn't the numbers dancing on the monitor. The greatest fear was the look in my son's eyes as he stared at me through the glass of the ICU. A look filled with worry, with fear, and with pity. In that moment, I understood the price of my lie. The price of ignoring those heart attack warning signs. It didn't just almost cost me my life. It was costing me my dignity. It was turning me into a burden. And there, in that abyss of despair, I made a promise to myself. If I were given a second chance, I would not waste it. I would never again ignore my body's warnings. I would fight. For myself, and for the people I love. That is my story. That is why I am sitting here today. Now, I want to ask you something deeply personal. If your greatest fear, like mine, is to one day become a burden to your children, to the people you love with all your heart, let me know by commenting the number 1 below this video. Just the number 1. So I know that we share this common ground. And so you know, that you are not alone in this fight. Because from that abyss, I found a way to climb back up. A path that didn't start in a pharmacy, but right in our kitchens. When I came home from the hospital, there were 2 things on my table. One was the bottle of pills my doctor had prescribed. And 2, was a truth I had to realize for myself. The doctor gave me 1 prescription to save my life. But life itself gave me a second prescription to truly live. Let me explain it this way. Imagine your cardiovascular health is like a beloved house you've lived in your entire life. The heart attack I suffered was like a terrible hurricane that just swept through that house. It tore off the roof, broke the walls, and shook the entire foundation. That bottle of pills my doctor gave me was like an emergency repair crew. They arrived quickly. They put a temporary tarp over the missing roof, that's the high blood pressure medication. They nailed some boards across the crumbling wall, that's the blood thinner. They did everything necessary to keep the house from completely collapsing right then and there. And for that, I am eternally grateful. But that emergency crew doesn't rebuild the house for you. They don't re-pour the foundation. They don't repaint the walls. They don't replant the ruined flower garden. The job of turning a devastated house back into a home, a fortress that can withstand future storms, that job isn't theirs. That job is yours. And the bricks, the mortar, the cement for that great reconstruction project. It's not found in a pharmacy. It's found right here. It's in our kitchens. It's in the foods that nature has provided. It is the second prescription. The prescription for rebirth. The prescription that helps us fix the root cause of the problem, not just chase after and patch up the symptoms. So, today, I want to ask you a decisive question. Do you want to live the rest of your life as a repairman, just patching up damages as they appear? Or do you want to become the architect, the master builder, patiently rebuilding the fortress of your health from the foundation up? If you, like me, believe in the second path, the path of rebuilding and recovering from the roots, let me know by commenting on the number 2 below. Just the number 2. It is your commitment to yourself, a sign that you are ready to begin the greatest construction project of your life. And that project, we will begin with the very first bricks. Those are the 8 bodyguards I promised. We won't start with the strongest, but we will build slowly, step by step. Let's begin with bodyguard number 8. Alright. The very first brick in our reconstruction project. Now, I want you to take a good look at this. And I want you to forget everything people have been telling you for the last 40 years. They said that fat is the enemy. They said that for a healthy heart, we must avoid fat at all costs. Today, I am here to tell you, that is a half-truth. And a half-truth is a dangerous lie. Because the very fat inside this bodyguard number 8 is one of the most powerful allies in our fight against LDL cholesterol, the junk that is clogging our arteries. That bodyguard is the avocado. I know what you're thinking. Harold, are you sure? How can fat possibly be good? Let me explain with the story of the sanitation workers in the city of your bloodstream. Imagine your arteries are the main highways. Every day, two types of delivery trucks drive on those roads. One type is called LDL. These are the clunky, old trucks that often spill garbage onto the road. That garbage is bad cholesterol. It builds up, sticks to the sides of the road, and eventually causes a traffic jam, otherwise known as atherosclerosis. But there's a second type of truck, called HDL. This is the city's cleanup crew. Their job is to go around and collect all the garbage the LDL trucks have spilled, keeping the streets clean and clear. And here is the most important part: the good fat, the monounsaturated fat found in avocados, is the premium fuel for that HDL cleanup crew. When you eat an avocado, you are not just providing fuel, you are hiring more workers for this sanitation team. They work more efficiently, clean up faster, and directly reduce the amount of LDL garbage that's building up. This isn't my speculation. In a study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association, participants who ate one avocado a day tended to have lower LDL cholesterol levels, especially in those who were overweight. That is proof. That is science. So how do we recruit this bodyguard? It's very simple. This was one of the first bricks I used to rebuild my heart health fortress. Every morning, I mash half an avocado and spread it on a slice of whole grain toast. That's it. A delicious, filling breakfast that is silently cleaning my arteries for me. When choosing avocados, look for ones with slightly bumpy skin that yield to gentle pressure. That's when they're best. Now, I'm a little curious. Is the avocado a familiar friend in your kitchen? If it is, comment the number 8, this bodyguard's number, down below. If you've been hesitant to try it until now, just comment, "We'll try." Let me know. Because you never know, a small habit starting today could create a massive change for tomorrow. Before I introduce our next bodyguard, I want us to do a little experiment together. Right now, wherever you are sitting, please raise one of your hands, just like me. Now, clench your hand into a fist. A tight fist. Squeeze your fingers together. What do you feel? Tension, pressure, and almost a sense of blockage, right? Now, slowly, release your fist. Very slowly. Let your fingers completely relax. Can you feel that difference? That feeling of relief, of release. The feeling of a flow of energy that has just been unblocked. This little experiment we just did, it doesn't just happen in your hand. It is the most accurate simulation of what is happening inside the tens of thousands of miles of your blood vessels every single day. When our arteries are clenched due to stress, diet, or age, it creates immense pressure on the heart. That is high blood pressure. It is a silent pressure cooker, slowly simmering the risk of a stroke. And this bodyguard number 7 is the one that brings that relaxation signal we just felt. It is the category of dark leafy greens, with spinach being a prime example. So, how does this bodyguard work? Inside these lush green leaves is a compound called nitrate. Don't worry, this isn't a harmful chemical. When it enters your body, nitrate is converted into a miracle molecule called nitric oxide. Imagine nitric oxide is like a messenger, running along all the arterial highways and shouting a single message, RELAX. Instantly, the tense walls of the blood vessels loosen up. The highway becomes wider. Blood circulation becomes easier. And the pressure in the cooker automatically goes down. Your heart no longer has to work so hard for nothing. This isn't just a nice story. It is the foundation of medicine. The scientists who won the 1998 Nobel Prize in Medicine did so for their discovery of this very nitric oxide molecule in cardiovascular health. But there is something extremely important you need to know. If you are taking blood-thinning medication like warfarin, please consult your doctor before significantly increasing your intake of these greens. Because they are rich in vitamin K. Your safety must always come first. What's the simplest way I can assign a task to this bodyguard? Every morning, I put a handful of spinach into my blender with some fruit. Or sometimes, it's just a simple plate of steamed greens with dinner. That's enough to send the relaxation signal for the entire day. So, is this green Bodyguard a friend or a stranger in your kitchen? If you regularly eat dark leafy greens, please comment on the word friend. If you rarely pay attention to them, please comment on the word stranger. Let me know, so I can see if we are walking on the same path. What if I told you that right now, at this very moment, your arteries might be on fire? Of course, this isn't a flame we can see with our eyes or feel the heat from. No. It's a different kind of fire, 1,000 times more dangerous. A smoldering fire, with no smoke, no sound. Medicine calls it silent inflammation. Imagine this. It's like tiny embers, smoldering day after day along the walls of your blood vessels. And those bad cholesterol plaques, the garbage we talked about earlier, are the flammable material, the dry kindling for that fire. It just smolders like that, year after year, silently destroying the flexibility of your arteries, making them rough and hard. Until one day, when the pressure is great enough, an explosion happens. A heart attack or a stroke is that final explosion. So, who is going to put out these dangerous fires? Allow me to introduce you to nature's most elite and courageous firefighting squad. Bodyguard number 6, berries. The deep red of strawberries, the dark blue of blueberries, have you ever wondered where those beautiful colors come from? They come from a compound called anthocyanin. This is not just a coloring agent. These are the tiny firefighters, armed with the most advanced equipment. When you eat these berries, millions of these tiny firefighters are dispatched into your bloodstream. Their mission has two parts. 1. They use their anti-inflammatory, water hoses, to immediately extinguish the smoldering embers. 2. And this is the amazing part, after putting out the fire, they also spray a layer of foam, antioxidants, all over the scene, cooling down the flammable materials and preventing new fires from breaking out. They both fight fires and prevent them. A study in the Journal of Nutrition showed that people who regularly consumed berries had significantly lower levels of inflammation in their bodies, directly reducing their risk of atherosclerosis. The way we call this fire department for help is also incredibly simple. A small handful each day. You can eat them fresh, add them to your morning oatmeal, or mix them with a bowl of plain yogurt. Just remember to use fresh or frozen berries without added sugar, not sugary jams or pastries. Between these two excellent firefighters, strawberries and blueberries, which one are you more friends with? Help me answer this question. Please comment on the name of the fruit you prefer below. You can type strawberry or blueberry. I'm very curious to see which army has more fans in our family. Have you ever taken an old rubber band and stretched it gently, only to have it snap in your hands with a sad pop? It was once flexible, once resilient. But time and neglect took away all its elasticity, leaving behind a brittle, fragile material. Now, imagine the same thing happening to something a million times more important, the inner lining of your arteries. Medicine calls it the endothelium. But I like to call it the body's internal armor. It is a delicate, precious lining whose job is to keep our vessel walls smooth and elastic, just like a newly paved road. But when this armor gets damaged by high blood pressure or by inflammation, cracks and potholes begin to appear. And every single small crack is an invitation for disaster. It is the favorite place for bad cholesterol and plaque to cling to build their nests. So the question is, can we patch up this armor? Can we provide it with the materials to repair itself? The answer is a resounding, hopeful yes. And the most diligent repairmen for this job are Bodyguard number 5, nuts, especially walnuts and almonds. Don't let their hard exteriors fool you. Inside that rough shell lies a treasure trove that helps keep our arteries flexible. That treasure consists of two things, omega-3s and an amino acid called L-arginine. If omega-3s are the firefighters putting out the fires of inflammation, as we discussed, then L-arginine molecules are the construction workers, the engineers. They go to the places where the wall is cracked and damaged and provide the mortar to patch it up, helping our internal armor become smooth and strong again. Simply put, these bodyguards don't just clean the road. They are repaving the road itself. The Harvard School of Public Health has conducted numerous studies showing that eating a moderate amount of nuts each day can significantly help lower the risk of cardiovascular disease. They have proven that nuts help improve the health of this very arterial lining. The way to get these construction workers to the site is also very easy. Just a small handful a day is enough. You can eat them as a snack or sprinkle them on your salad or oatmeal. But remember, the key here is moderation. Because nuts are also energy dense, a small handful is enough for an effective day's work. Between these two master craftsmen, who do you usually trust more with the job? If you prefer walnuts, please comment the number 5A. And if you are a fan of almonds, please comment on the number 5B. I'm very curious to know which team is more popular in our family. Today, I'm going to do something that many nutrition experts might disagree with me on. I'm going to tell you that to get the maximum power from this next bodyguard, we need to cook it. I know. We've always been taught that eating fresh, raw fruits and vegetables is best, right? That heat destroys all the vitamins and nutrients. In most cases, that is true. But for this particular bodyguard, number 4, that rule is reversed. Its power is not only preserved, but it is magnified many times over when we cook it. That special bodyguard is the familiar friend in every garden, the tomato. So, what is the secret hidden inside the tomato that makes it so strange? It's a compound called lycopene. This is the hero that gives the tomato its brilliant red color. And lycopene, ladies and gentlemen, is one of nature's most powerful weapons in the fight to prevent a stroke. Imagine this. An ischemic stroke, the most common type, happens when a blood clot blocks an artery leading to the brain. It's like a thief suddenly blocking a vital highway, cutting off the supply of oxygen and nutrients. And lycopene acts as a vigilant security patrol on that highway. It performs 2 critically important tasks. 1, it helps to polish cholesterol molecules, making them less likely to oxidize and stick together to form clots. It's stopping the thief before he can even fully form. 2, it helps keep our internal armor healthy, reducing the cracks where a clot could easily form. It both stops the thief and repairs the road. A study published in the journal Neurology followed over 1,000 men for 12 years. The results were astounding. The men with the highest levels of lycopene in their blood had a 55% lower risk of stroke compared to those with the lowest levels. 55%. That is a life-changing number. And here is the most important tip. The structure of lycopene in a raw tomato is a bit bulky, making it difficult for the body to absorb. But when we cook tomatoes, for example, making a tomato sauce for pasta, or a hot bowl of tomato soup, the heat breaks down that structure, releasing the lycopene. Our bodies can absorb it much more easily. Adding a little olive oil makes it even better, as lycopene is fat-soluble. So, one of the most powerful weapons to protect your brain from the risk of a stroke comes from a simple act: cooking a pot of tomato sauce. It's fascinating, isn't it? Now, I'd like to know a little about your habits. Which team are you on? The raw tomato team, for example, in salads? Or the cooked tomato team, in sauces or soups? Let me know. If you prefer them raw, comment the number 4R. If you prefer them cooked, comment the number 4C. There's no wrong answer. But perhaps, after today, we have one more reason to love our tomato soup a little bit more. There is one bodyguard on our list that you might recognize instantly, not with your eyes, but with your sense of smell. Many of us love its pungent, distinctive aroma. But just as many are a bit hesitant, even trying to avoid it. But did you know? In the old folk tales our grandparents told, people used this very bodyguard to ward off vampires. And in reality, scientifically, it is doing something very similar right inside our bloodstream every day. Bodyguard number 3 is none other than garlic. So, what is the vampire in our blood? It is the dangerous stickiness of platelets. Imagine the platelets in your blood are like lonely individuals, but they love to hug each other. When they hug too much, they form a crowd. And that crowd is a blood clot. If this crowd forms in the wrong place at the wrong time, it will block an artery, and that is the direct path to a heart attack or stroke. And this is where our bodyguard steps in. The compound allicin in garlic acts like a strict hall monitor. When allicin shows up, it goes around and says, "Hey, you all, break it up, no gathering, no forming cliques." It prevents the platelets from sticking together. But garlic is also a brilliant double agent. At the same time, it also sneaks into the body's cholesterol factory, the liver, and whispers to the foreman, "Hey, let's produce a little less bad cholesterol, LDL, today." It is both a monitor keeping order and a foreman optimizing production. Two birds with one stone. For thousands of years, from ancient Egypt to modern medicine, garlic has been revered as a heart superfood. Studies in the Journal of Nutrition have also confirmed garlic's ability to help reduce cholesterol and improve blood circulation. However, to awaken this allicin monitor, there is a very important little trick. You need to crush or mince the garlic, and let it rest in the air for about 5 to 10 minutes before cooking. It is this resting time that activates the allicin, releasing its full power. If you cook the garlic immediately, the effect will be greatly reduced. A small tip that can make a huge difference for your cardiovascular health. I have a fun little question for you. In your kitchen, are you generous with garlic? Meaning, do you use it often? If the answer is yes, please comment on the word yes. If you rarely use it, please comment the word no. It's that simple, isn't it? Let me know, so I can see if you are an ally of this powerful bodyguard. Now, I'm about to introduce a bodyguard that, when you hear its main characteristic, many of you might frown. Some might even think I'm joking. Because this bodyguard is very sweet. And I know, for those of us over 60, that word sweet causes a sense of hesitation, of fear. We've been taught to stay away from sugar, to treat it as an enemy of cardiovascular health. And that is right, for refined sugar. But today, I want to tell you about a sweet deception. A food that, despite its sweetness, is not an enemy. On the contrary, it is a powerful ally that helps to regulate blood pressure and heart rhythm. Bodyguard number 2 is the date. So why is the sweetness of a date so different? Imagine this. Refined sugar is like a lone intruder, storming into your bloodstream all at once, causing chaos and a sudden spike in blood sugar. But the sugar in a date doesn't travel alone. It's like a VIP, always escorted by a powerful security detail. That security detail is fiber. This fiber security team links arms with the VIP and demands that he enter the bloodstream slowly, in an orderly fashion. Because of this, it doesn't cause a blood sugar shock, but instead provides a source of sustained energy for the body. But that isn't even its greatest strength. That sweetness is just a cover for the two real warriors hidden inside, potassium and magnesium. Potassium, as we know, is the balancer. It acts like a judge, helping the body expel excess sodium, salt, which directly reduces the pressure on your artery walls, helping to lower blood pressure. Magnesium, on the other hand, is the pacemaker. It acts as a natural tranquilizer for the heart, helping the heart muscles to relax, preventing abnormal contractions, and maintaining a stable, healthy heart rhythm. A tiny fruit that is a factory producing two of the most critical minerals for your heart's survival. What's the simplest way I can incorporate this bodyguard into my diet? I use it to replace refined sugar. A few chopped dates in my morning oatmeal, or thrown into the blender for a smoothie, creates a natural, elegant, and nutritious sweetness. Have you ever thought that a fruit as sweet as a date could be good for your heart? If the answer is yes, please comment on the word yes. If this is completely new information to you, please comment on the word no. Please share honestly. I'm very interested to know your thoughts. And now, we have almost reached the end of our journey. We have met 7 courageous bodyguards. We have reached the foot of the summit. Ahead of us lies the champion. Bodyguard number 1. The secret weapon I promised you from the very first seconds of this video. Are you ready? Have you noticed that when we reach the end of a journey, 2 feelings often come at the same time? One is relief, because we've made it to the finish line. The other is a kind of longing, because we don't want to part with what has just become familiar. That's exactly how I feel right now. From bodyguard number 8 at the beginning to bodyguard number 1 we just met, we've been introduced to each special friend nature has sent us. Not to fill a list, but to place one brick after another into the wall that protects your heart. 8 bricks, 8 ways to improve blood circulation, lower blood pressure naturally, remove harmful calcium buildup, soften artery walls, put out inflammation, and return to you the most precious thing, peace of mind. I don't expect you to change everything in just one day. But I believe, if you start tomorrow with just one small habit, a glass of pomegranate juice, a handful of nuts, a bowl of leafy greens, your heart will thank you sooner than you think. And I want you to remember, on this road, you are not walking alone. I was once at the starting point, where fear outweighed hope. And now I am here to tell you, change is real, and a healthier heart is possible. So let me ask you something very simple. If you feel that these 8 bodyguards deserve to be your allies, type the number 1. If you'd like more time to think it over, type the number 2. Every number you leave is a reminder to yourself, that heart health isn't something for someday, it's a decision for today. And I promise, in the next video, I will share another secret that nearly every doctor wishes their patients knew, but few have the time to fully explain.